let's talk about it. Here's update number 12 of our channel, Pleiadian Messages. So it starts out, this was on May 5th at 11:33 p.m. They start out by talking about this great famine that we're going to experience. Great famine, destitute, loss of power near the Great Lakes, shielded power under false prelude, necessary evil, the dark that will awaken the light. The fair bubble must first be broken. And then I got like the sands of Zanzibar will be activated at the great run of the well. And I got the word Deuteronomy, so I do need to go back and maybe read that chapter and see what that's about, right? And then after that, they started talking about us having a nebulous new beginning after the sands of Zanzibar activated and the great run of the well. So I asked, but how do we fill in the gaps? What else is coming? We need to know more in there. And they said, homage to the Hopi prophecy, a highlight of what's to come, remarked by religion being used to carry out destruction on humanity rather than connection to spirit. Existence itself relies on harmony, an ecosystem of connectedness. This was the design. Test subjects of the humankind. Premonition of a cyclic end is a memory to the solar moon. So let's talk about it. From the beginning where they, obviously we know, like, yes, there will be food shortages. We get it, right? And so this is why all the messages have been talking about like reseeding her beauty, Earth's beauty, and nourishing ourselves with the sediment of our own creation. So I get where that is coming from. In the past, when I had gotten the vision of, the tents on the ground, that we recently went through, and that whole case with Abrego and all that stuff, they did mention, remember that we talked about the loss of power and on the cusp of the ice, right? It was kind of like something dramatic and quick. It felt like an explosion on the cusp of the ice, and this is where that loss of power was, right? Like something that happened quickly or randomly is what I'm getting. I do believe that is exactly what they're showing us again, because I didn't realize that the Great Lakes are actually on the cusp of the ice. They're actually on the border of Canada. So again, they're reminding us of that. When they mention the shielded power under false prelude being this necessary evil, the dark that's going to awaken the light, it literally looked militant, all black wear, like the people that are out there when they're protesting and stuff with the shields and all that. That's what it looked like. So they're coming in under this Trojan horse type energy where they're coming in as if they're doing something good for our communities and for us, but it's actually evil. But this is what people need to see. This is something that helps to awaken, the light in all of this, because at some point, right, everybody reaches a breaking point. It feels like this is the last ditch efforts, right, to awaken this light in the people. Okay, this is the dark that will awaken that. Now, I'm not sure what they mean by the sands of Zanzibar being activated, but when they talk about the nebulous new beginnings, it feels like the cataclysmic era that they keep mentioning. This is the reset that happens, and then it's nebulous new beginnings. It's like a nebulous means like confused or unsure new beginnings, right? How are we moving forward after this cyclic end that we know we're going to experience? The homage to the Hopi prophecy is very important, because if you haven't read it, I would read the Hopi prophecy. There they specifically talk about the new earth and like the splitting of the earth. But the way they describe it is exactly the way I've channeled it as well, is that it's a choice that we make. We're either choosing peace and love for all, or we're choosing the chaos and destruction, similar to what we're already experiencing now. So now is the time that we have to make a choice. And it's a time that we have to reflect and decide, is this what we really want moving forward? So we need to trigger that darkness in people, and this is why these things are happening. We may not like what he is doing, but he is the reset, right? He is the vehicle to reset, and we are experiencing the thrash of the choke in this moment, is the way they explained it to me. Time is running out over there, okay? But let's talk about it. This is what I think is where we get it wrong, or we misinterpret it sometimes. Where they talk about this is the way existence was meant to be. We rely on harmony because it's an ecosystem of connectedness, right? And it's literally a recycling constantly. You know what I mean? Like we eat of the plants, and we drink of her water, we pass, and we feed back into earth. There's an ecosystem here, right? Like everything works in harmony with one another. That was the design. We are test subjects of the humankind. At the end of the day, we are androgynous beings, is how they've explained it to me. We are nothing but energy. We might carnate into this experience, into this 3D reality as male, female, blah, blah, blah. But the reality of it is we are all energy. We're test subjects of humankind made up of multiple different energies, star seeds, Okay, so they're very invested in what we're doing and how we play this out. What choice do we make? What happens? They're invested. So yeah, that's why everything is a memory. Now let's get specific, right? Because they did talk about him, and everybody keeps trying to say, oh, well, he will pass at this time or that time. Time is running out. I do believe we're experiencing, like they said, the thrash of the choke. Anytime I see him, the way they showed it to me during this message was him and a plane. There's something to do with a plane. It feels like a GOVT. That's abbreviated word. GOVT, plane, and him. So there's something there. Now, did I want to dig more into that? No, I do not, because I don't vibe with that energy, and that is not something I'm trying to go tap into. However, there is something that I do want to tap into that I feel like is coming up. That I feel like this will be like the next headline, right? Is what I'm getting. It feels like it has to do with a young child. It could be teenage. Is what this feels like to me. A child. What they said was the passing of egregious acts of barbaric nature, cultified markings, grotesque. So. Yeah, this one bothered me because when we were talking about the Abrego one and me seeing the black tents on the ground and all that good stuff, like, yeah, that's horrible. But then when you think of something as egregious, right, and it being towards a child, I feel like this is something that will set a lot of us off. And I feel like this is where, when they say the fear bubble must be broken, I think this is where we're like, hell no. Everybody has a limit, and this is where we stand up for, what's right, for humanity, the peace and love for all. And I feel like this is something that is a catalyst as well to us making this change. They said hidden secrets of GOVT knowledge. So they know what's going on, but have not put a stop to this is what I was getting in that message. And they also said leaders of crumble, right? Is what I got. Now, I love you guys. I hope this message is helpful to you. I hope that everybody continues to share the messages that they are receiving. None of this is meant to like fearmonger people or anything like that, but it's meant to make you tap in and go deeper and be like, well, damn, let me see what this and see what I get, right? Like, you see what you get. A lot of us are getting a lot of messages along the same lines. Maybe we're interpreting it differently. And that is something that is common among psychics, seers, spiritualists, however you want to say it, right? I hope this message was helpful to you. If it is, follow us on YouTube. We do take deeper dives into our messages there. I love you guys.